Good afternoon. It's a lovely afternoon day here in California, and we're going to devote some time to questions and answers, and I shall have to do my best to answer the questions. The people asking them are people who currently live in the beautiful country of Russia, and Tatiana will hear the question, and then she will translate the question, and then I will attempt to answer it, and all of that will be recorded. And we're gonna get going. Okay?
Okay.
Press the button.
So he said, hello Phil, what do you think about something and something in the free zone? So I didn't hear. Can you rewind it a little? Rewind. The next button, just move it a little bit. Here. You see, move it to the rewind. Or just place it, like from here. And again, we start.
Дорогой Фил, а что ты думаешь об уровнях IT-8 и выше в свободной зоне? Спасибо.
Спасибо.
Okay, so he is saying, hi Phil, what do you think about OT8 and up being delivered in the free zone?
The question, which Tatiana has been kind enough to translate for me, my Russian is limited to approximately 5 words, is what do I think about OT8 and beyond being delivered in the free zone? Well, first of all, I don't know if beyond OT8 is being delivered in the free zone. I don't even know for sure if OT8 is being delivered in the free zone, but if it is, that sounds okay to me. So I really can't say too much about it. I don't even really know what the OT8 materials consist of. I could know, but I'm keeping it a secret from myself at this time. But it's a very good question, and I can only say that in the United States, I don't know if OT8 and beyond is being delivered. It may be going on in other places in the world. My knowledge, though, is very limited. Thank you.
But what is your attitude about this? How do you feel about it?
Well, Tatiana asked, well, what is my attitude? What do I feel about it? I feel okay. Very okay. As we say in Russian, very good. Очень хорошо. That's how I feel. And I'll press the button. We'll get the next question.
Hello, Phil. My name is Natasha.
Oh,
You're
she's
cool.
still talking.
Yeah.
You nod your head when you want me to stop, please.
Okay.
Я хотела бы тебе задать вопрос по поводу творчества Scientology.
Stop.
Были ли у вас в цель...
I would like to ask you, hello Phil, my name is Natasha. I would like to ask you a question about the creativity in Scientology. Creativity, like art. Creativity. But she didn't finish. Press
Turn
it
it on again.
какие-то номера концертные, художественная самодеятельность? То есть как вы отдыхали?
She is asking, how would you spend your what would you do in spare time regarding creating those concerts or like any art activity? And she didn't finish. Click it again. She didn't finish. You see, we go to the end.
Do I want to answer that now?
No, it's a one question. Just let her finish. After very difficult knowledge, after studying, after spending hard time studying, how did you rest? I'm asking because that's what I do. I'm asking because that's what I do in our org, what she said. She's organizing those concerts and art activity. So.
But is there a question?
The question is, how was it in your time in Scientology, like in the works that you were in the mission, right? Did you
Okay.
have any spare time activity
Yeah.
like art?
Sure.
Concept?
Well, our next questioner is a lovely person, a young lady from Russia who is asking about creativity within the framework of Scientology, as in an organization or a mission or something like that. So I can speak best about the mission that I had, which was really very active from about 1970 to 1980. And we had all kinds of things. We had many talented people from the arts because we're located right on the border of Stanford University, and there's all kinds of art and activities connected with the arts, with theater, with painting, with sculpture, with poetry, with writing, with concerts. So the mission that I had and was part of, we were very active with the people who were creating those things. And every Sunday, before I would give my lecture, one of these artists, like a fairly famous flamenco guitarist, would come and present a 20 or 30-minute concert of flamenco music. Or sometimes we had a whole band playing band music, and we sponsored dances and all kinds of things. So I can only speak for that period. During that period, we were very active both with sports and the arts, and it was wonderful because a lot of the people were getting training and auditing, and we were having a lot of fun. It was not a deadly serious activity. It was a deadly fun, pleasure, joyous, happy time, and that's what I would expect would be around the Scientology organization or individual, that there would be people who would want to express themselves beautifully. I hope that has answered Natasha's question. And thank you for asking.
Thank you.
Очень хорошо.
Okay. Okay.
Huh?
Значит, просто интересно, какие перспективы саентологии, вот с вашей точки зрения, в наше время? Будет ли меняться саентология в связи с изменениями вот в окружении? И в какую сторону?
Спасибо.
She asked,
Who is this person's name?
she didn't
She didn't give us
introduce.
her name, but
She didn't give.
we have
She
another
went straight into
question.
the question.
Yeah.
So the question was, what would you think about the perspective for the Scientology regarding our time? Like, how do you see the future of Scientology in our time?
Well, Tatiana tells me that the question that's being asked is, how do I see the future of Scientology, Dianetics, in our time as the 21st century goes forward? Well, as I've said before, and I'll say it again, Scientology, the subject of Scientology, I'm not talking about the church or the organizations or flag or the missions or anything, but Scientology itself is immortal in the sense that it is a group, a whole bunch of ideas that make up this thing called Scientology. And as you know, an idea has no mass. There's an idea. It has nothing. It's an immortal. And the ideas that make up Scientology, which can be found in its axioms, its factors, the logics and the pre-logics, these are the things that define what Scientology, the subject, really is. And I see it as having a marvelous and beautiful and endless future, simply because all of it, what's contained in L. Ron Hubbard's books, in his lectures, in his courses that he gave, it's all ideas. And ideas don't die. Once they're made, they can live forever. And they can fade from view and then come back again, which is very much the history of great ideas. Sometimes they grow and then they vanish and terrible ideas take their place. But then they vanish and back come the great ideas again. So not to worry or wonder about the future of Scientology and Dianetics, the subject. For all intents and purposes, they may be considered immortal. They have no time, no anything. They're just ideas, and as long as they are held by people like us, they will live on forever, conceivably. As far as the history or the future of the Church of Scientology, I'm worried, not in the real sense of being worried, but I'm somewhat fearful of its future because it's gone so far the opposite of the original mission statement for Scientology and Dianetics. But in what we call the free zone, where there are organizations and individuals, I predict that they will go on and do better and better and have a wonderful time auditing, training, and making sure that these great ideas express themselves, but not seriously, and not in a deadly serious way, but in a happy, beautiful, wonderful way. And thank you for asking.
Okay. All right. Yep.
Все.
Скажите, пожалуйста, вам каким-нибудь фактом, что вам вспоминается, что-нибудь такое,
Как сплетни. Всем хочется прикоснуться к чему-то великому, но у нас есть только бюллетень, есть только технологии. А хочется узнать, каким он был в жизни. Как человек.
Stop.
So she's asking you to tell them something about Hubbard, but not something like everybody wants to know the technology and bulletins and stuff. But she wants to know the anecdotes, like something from the real life, something what you remember about him as a person, something.
She wants me to cry.
No, she wants to tell us something not in connection of deadly serious activity, something about like life anecdotes.
Okay. Does she have a name?
She didn't introduce herself.
Okay. Well, our next questioner is a lovely lady who has at least one child, a beautiful young lady, and perhaps another child, and she is asking that I should say something about Hubbard, the human being, the person, the man that I once knew and that I still think the world of. I'm thinking of L. Ron Hubbard back when he was much younger, when he was in his 30s and 40 years of age, and I found him to be a very jolly, laughing, dynamic, exceptional person, very brilliant, and very interested in finding out for each person what they're really all about and helping them to find out who and what you really are. And he was very good at that. He was very good at helping people answer the question for themselves, what am I really? Am I a human being? Am I a soul? Am I a soul and a human being? What am I? That's the eternal question that has been asked by philosophy and human beings perhaps since the beginning of time. And Hubbard really went out of his way to provide a means by which you can answer that question, those questions, for yourself. And he helped me enormously in that regard to find out things that I wanted to know. And that's how I best remember him. And when he was young, he was very vigorous, very athletic, he loved music, motorcycle riding, and most of all, he loved challenging the fixed ideas and the cultural repressions and inhibitions and suppressions that existed in the world. He loved to challenge those and tell people, look, you have no idea how free you can be. You can be much freer than anybody has ever said or allowed that you could be. And that's the Hubbard that for me is the real thing. Okay? And thank you for asking.
Do you remember any particular incident? When you talk about this, do you get any sense of particular time?
Well, Tanya wants to know if I can think of a particular time. Yes, I can think of 1963, England, south of England, East Grinstead, Sussex, St. Hill Special Briefing Course. I started that course June 13th, 1963. And of course, one of the things that brought me to England to take that course was a chance to spend some time with Ron. And one of the things Ron used to do during the daytime, he would walk around the grounds of St. Hill Manor, which is a beautiful manor with gorgeous grounds that had once been owned by the Maharaja of Rajpur. But anyway, that was St. Hill. And when he was walking around, naturally, people would come up and say, "Hi, Ron, what's going on?" And so you'd find him standing there with 5 or 6 people surrounding him. I would be one of them. And the first thing he would do is offer everyone a cigarette, a Kool. He smoked Kools. And they would ask him questions, or he would say, "I had a great idea today." He said, "I think I have found what the bottom line on ARC brakes are. We're going to call it level 3, and it's got a lot to do with change." Woo! So we were all like, wow. But the thing that I best remember was he had a whole bunch of motorcycles, 3 or 4. Mary Sue Hubbard had one, and he had one. He had more than one. And sometimes when they would have parades or social events in the little town of East Grinstead, he would ride his motorcycle with a cowboy hat and, just be L. Ron Hubbard, the guy that rides that motorcycle. And anyway, I noticed as the briefing course was going on that he wasn't riding motorcycles very much, and I started bothering him about that. Whenever I'd see him, I'd say, "What's going on?" And he'd say, "Phil, listen up. I'm trying to completely codify Scientology, and until I get that done, I don't want to get killed riding a motorcycle." And I was like, oh, what other excuses do you have for not riding motorcycles? I thought he was going to knock me down because I was telling him, in effect, that he was having what is called a service facsimile, which is an explanation or an excuse for not doing or failing something. But he said, "All right, you asked for it. Come with me." We went over to the garage where he had this great big Triumph 650cc motorcycle, and he said, "Get on it." He said, "You want to ride? You're going to ride." So I was like, at that time I had a motorcycle that was about this big. Now he's putting me on a really big supercharged motorcycle, and I'm like, okay. So he says, "Advance the spark and kick it. Vroom, 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 vroom." I said, "Well, okay, we got it started." And he said, "Okay, take it and enjoy it." And I was like, oh my God. And he was like, "See, Phil, this has always been your case. When you get what you want, you can't have it." He was laughing hysterically, and so was I. I said, "To hell with that," and I kicked it off, and whoo, off I rode on his bike. And I kept it for about 3 or 4 days. When other people would see me riding it, both in the city and around there, they thought I'd stolen it from him because no one ever touched his motorcycles. He let me have it for about 3 or 4 days. I had a great time with it and returned it to him, and we didn't say any more about motorcycles after that. That's my Hubbard, the one that I knew. 1963.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening, and thank you for giving me a chance to tell that story.
But I'm sure they would want more.
Of course.
Is there a chain of them? Are they
Oh.
coming to your mind?
Oh, yeah, but I don't want to spend the whole afternoon.
Maybe just one more?
No, that's enough.
Okay.
I got very excited and happy about that one. If I keep it up, I'll probably start crying because I don't have my father, all the different things that Ron represented to me. The wise man, the parent, all kinds of things that he meant to so many people. Okay. Enough?
Okay.
All right. Thank you for asking and giving me the opportunity to tell about my experiences with Ron.
All right. Thank you.